Elementary School Collaborative Planning, October 7th, 2020, Improvement Strategy number 2 for Priority Area number 1, which is guided reading. Thank you so much, Dr. William Carter, our principal, and Dr. Lisa Steele Reimer, our assistant principal. What is guided reading? Guided reading offers small group support and explicit teaching to help students take on more challenging tests. As students read tests, they are organized along a gradient of difficulty. They expand their systems of strategic actions by meeting the demands of increasingly complex tests. Students provide evidence of their thinking through oral reading, talk, and extension through writing. Guided reading is part of the balanced literacy program. Reading aloud, shared reading, guided reading, word study, independent reading, model writing, and independent writing. Balanced literacy follows the gradual release of the responsibility model. I do, which is the direct instruction, read aloud, shared reading, model writing, word study. We do, which is the guided practice, shared reading, guided reading, model writing, and word study. And then you do, which is the independent practice, which is independent reading, independent writing, and word study, of which I'm sure we have this identified within our lesson plans. The I do, we do, and you do strategy for the gradual release model. Characteristics of guided reading. Teacher works with small groups of the children in the classroom setting. Book selections are based on the students' needs rather than content area themes. And each child reads the entire text, not just a part of the text, like round robin or popcorn reading. Characteristics of guided reading. The continuation. The emphasis is on reading many books with increasingly levels of difficulty while focusing on strategies. Ongoing assessment drives instruction, and assessments may include running records, teacher observation, and anecdotal notes and records. More characteristics of guided reading. Students are grouped and regrouped based on their demonstrated needs. Groups should be fluid. The goal is for students to read independently and silently so they can interact with the text. Students are taught to problem solve using strategies they have learned, and when appropriate, teachers should incorporate the strategies currently being taught in the whole group lessons. Guided reading in grades K through 2. Level tests can be read in one session are typically used. Emphasis is more often on strategic actions within the text, solving words, monitoring and correcting, searching for and using information, summarizing, developing fluency. Strategic actions beyond the text are about the text are also taught as appropriate. Guided reading in grades 3 through 5. Level tests can be read independently as well as during group time. Emphasis is more on the strategic actions beyond the test and about the test, which is predicting, making connections, synthesizing, inferring, and analyzing and critiquing. Strategies within the test are also taught as appropriate. Literature search circles and strategy groups can function as group guided reading groups when students are independently applying the appropriate strategic actions. When should guided reading begin? For beginning readers, guided reading should start as soon as the students begin to understand some early literacy concepts, such as sense of how a story works, understanding that print carries meaning, a limited sight vocabulary, and some basic print concepts. For independent readers, small group instruction should begin as soon as the guided reading needs of the levels are determined. Individual conferences should begin soon afterwards as well. All good expectations for guided reading. Students should be reading material at their independent or instructional level at some point every day, and teachers will meet with small groups and or confer individually with students each and every day. Meeting the students at different levels. Students who are reading below grade level should be met with daily, either in teacher-led small groups Reading support, small groups, or individual conferences with the teacher. Students who are reading on grade level should be met with 2 or 3 times a week in small groups and individual conferences. And students who are reading above grade level should be met with 1 or 2 times a week in small groups or individual conferences. Please make sure that information is documented as well within your conferences so you can just keep a track or a log of that information. Plan for the remainder of this session, opportunities for lesson planning, time permitting for questions and answers as it relates to guided reading. Keep in mind this is our second strategy for priority area number 1, of which priority area number 2 is number 1 is reading, and the strategy for number 1 is closed reading, and strategy for number 2 is our guided reading. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. This is part 2 of our collaborative training and meeting, and I will send part 3 out to you today. Thank you so much.